Speaking to us from Los Angeles is Jonathan Friedman, a store owner from Los Angeles, a store which was ruined during the riots. Shalom.
Hi, how are you?
We're okay. How are you? We see the videos of the ruins, the riots. How was this experiencing this from up close?
Motzei Shabbos, when we went out, we were boarding up my store and a bunch of other stores, a bunch of Jewish people getting together and just helping each other out. We are watching people go from store to store, looting the stores. Motzei Shabbos, there was close to no police around, and for sure none of them doing anything. And it was wild. It was crazy. There was no enforcement whatsoever, and you had all the small businesses in the neighborhood being their whole livelihoods being stolen out of their front of their stores by these people with no regard for anything.
Was there any direct confrontation?
A few of them approached us to try to test the waters and see if they could get either some of our into our store or get some things. But they weren't confrontational. At one point, one of them did go into a Jewish store across the street, and we right away went and made sure that he left right away. The police actually saw us doing this and refused to get involved. They said that they couldn't help us, which was shocking because here you have 5 Jews trying to protect another Jew's store, and this other guy that's just looking to steal, and the police just said, "Sorry, sir, we can't help you tonight," which was shocking. I mean, you're living in a very big city like LA. It's not a common response.
So what did the policeman say?
To quote the officer that I spoke to while they were robbing my store, I was across the street, and he said that we're focusing on loss of life before we focus on the goods. And in my case, I said, I'm not looking for special circumstances, but I own a pharmacy and they're stealing all the drugs, which eventually are going to become your problem. And he said that loss of life comes first. We're focusing on that. Your store is your problem, not ours.
And did you try to say anything to the rioters themselves?
We yelled at some of them. We called out to them, "What are you guys doing?" But they didn't care. It was free for all. They were shopping in the stores. They weren't running and breaking. They were running and breaking things, but they weren't running away with the merchandise like they were scared of something. They were taking their time. They had not a fear in the world. We were the ones that were more afraid than them.
And I understand that things have improved in terms of the police.
They have stepped up the police have definitely stepped up their presence and their operations here. Tonight is from what I've heard and from what I saw when I was out before, it's nothing like it was Motzei Shabbos. There's definitely police around and they're definitely getting involved. I know tonight they arrested many people tonight for being out and for being up to no good, and they are improving. But that first night was just insane.
Tell me, Jonathan, how did the non-Jewish community, maybe also the African American community, the people that you know, how did they relate to the incidents?
So actually, Sunday morning, a lot of people, non-Jewish people and African Americans, and just people that weren't necessarily Jewish or that we weren't necessarily affected, were coming by to offer their words of support or help paint over some graffiti, help sweep up some glass. There were a lot of people that were coming and trying to, show that not everyone's bad and make up for some of the things that other people were doing. But the statement was made the day before when you had hundreds of people running through the streets, smashing every store in sight. And a lot of the Jewish people in the community watched that happen. It was Shabbos, everyone went out, and a lot of us witnessed that.
And as we reported here on Arutz Sheva, there was also a synagogue that was vandalized.
Yeah, that was it, right down the block from us. Pretty much every synagogue in the whole neighborhood was graffitied at some point. I mean, on Sunday they were all painted over again, but it was almost every synagogue got graffitied.
How do you relate to that? In the midst of all these protests on a specific issue, suddenly synagogues.
I mean, I hear what they're protesting against. A little bit, but I don't know, and myself and many other people don't see what the synagogues or the small businesses have to do with that. It's a kind of an unrelated party that doesn't necessarily need to be involved in here. A lot of these businesses are still suffering from their loss of business from Corona, all the restaurants and all those businesses. And, now they have, in addition to all their loss of revenue, they have all their windows smashed, which is just something that has no connection at all to what they're protesting about.
Okay, so let's just end with your situation now. What's going on?
So the past 2 nights they've had a pretty strict curfew. The past 3 nights, the first night it wasn't really enforced. The past 2 nights it's been more enforced. So the streets are very quiet from as the night gets later, and then in the morning everyone tries to get back to put everything back and get back to work and try to resume the normal life. Only that first day of Shabbos was there blatant violence and smashing of stores in broad
Right.
daylight. That was
Okay.
only on that there on Shabbos itself, that first day. But since then, during the day has been relatively safe. There've been a lot of troublemaker looking people about, but no, and there has been some theft, but there hasn't been blatant robbery in the middle of the day like that since Shabbos.
Jonathan Friedman, Los Angeles, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.